Hello, you beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of Holistically Speaking. I'm Hannah, your host, and today I'm going to dive into the topic of why God is such an important part of your healing journey. I truly think that without the connection to God or Source, the divine, universe, whatever you want to call it, is so important when healing. This is truly because there are just some things in life that science cannot prove that are God. And it's really interesting to me because in ancient medicine, such as traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurveda and yoga, and all these different ancient wisdoms that were used as medicine, there is a reference to chi or life force energy. This explains that there is life within us, a form of energy. It is what keeps us alive. And to me, I really see this as God within us because every single living thing has this life force energy. It's in plants, it's in animals, it's in us, and this is what makes us alive, and there is an aspect to our health and well being called our vitality, and this is essentially how healthy this life force energy is, how much flow this life force energy has, how vibrant it is, how alive we feel. And the closer of a relationship and connection that we have to God, the healthier we are in this aspect of our life. Maybe this sounds woo woo, maybe this sounds out there, but it is actually so true. And things that pull us away from God or things that take this life force energy away from us are things that make us feel separate, that make us feel disconnected, that kind of dims our glow. So if you wanted to picture the energy of somebody who is in complete health, the energy of somebody, and they walk in the room and they just radiate this beautiful glow, this beautiful energy, they're magnetic, their skin is glowing, they light up their room, they're happy, they're outgoing, just all these things. It's like you're drawn to them. I bet you, me explaining this to you, you have already pictured somebody in your mind, somebody that you know, somebody that maybe you look up to, somebody that you've interacted with in your life, and you're thinking, yes, this person. Okay, that right there is a strong life force energy. That right there is a healthy aura. It is a healthy connection to God, because how much we honor our health is in a way how much we honor our relationship to God, because we were given this physical body by God. We were put on this physical plane, and this body that we have is our vehicle in which we get to experience this consciousness that we are right now. And the more that we honor our body, that we fuel our body, that we take care of our body and give it what it needs, the healthier we become, the stronger we become. And all of these things are tied to having a strong life force energy, a healthy chi, okay? And this is also not just physical, it's mental, it's emotional, and of course, it's spiritual, because everything is so interconnected. So, I've talked in a previous episode about how the seven heavenly virtues and the seven deadly sins are actually things that dictate the vibration in which we experience right now in this physical reality. So, the things that we can do to take better care of ourselves in every aspect of our life, in every aspect of our health, is actually helping us be closer connected to God. And I just want to say, I believe in science. I understand science, and I do think that science is important. There is so much that we have been able to learn and understand because of science. But there is something about life. There is an aspect of life that science will never be able to explain, that maybe we will never find a way to measure. There is no quantitative value for what it is that I'm talking about. And I think that it's important that we have both the physical and the energetic aspect of our health, of our life, of everything that we experience, because science can help us comprehend, science can help us understand to a certain level. And then there is always going to be that one step further that maybe we're just not meant to understand, but we are meant to have faith. We are meant to trust. We are meant to believe, because this actually creates space for us to be able to receive miracles. And why this is important, especially in the aspect of your health, is because if you get way too attached to the science, if you get way too attached to the nitty gritty details and, you know, just simply attaching to science, one, I could argue that there is a lot of science that has been used to maybe keep us separate from God, maybe to try and tell us that these things that we can't explain through science must mean that they're not real, that they're made up, but they're not. It's the magic of life. It's the energy that flows through every living thing. That is God. That is our connection of God. I heard somebody say that we are in the center of the entire universe. There is a big ball of white light, which is essentially God energy. And every single thing in the universe is just a fractal of that ball of light. We are a piece of God. God is the part of us that is alive, right? Because when we experience things like depression and anxiety and these illnesses that make us feel disconnected from ourselves, from the universe, from plants, from animals, from everybody else, it's because we're missing that connection to ourself that is God. God is out of that equation. And it is so common in this day and age because we are disconnected from nature, because we want to reach for pharmaceuticals before we reach for plant medicine. In all honesty, I think this is a big issue in that we have in our medical system, because why would God put us on this earth with an infinite amount of different plants and animals? We are just still discovering different plants, different bugs, different animals that we have not yet discovered in all this time that we've been on earth. And why would God have given us all of these different plants that all have a different energetic value, that have a different purpose, that help our bodies do different things, if not as medicine? Why would God not have given us everything that we need? But when we get into this sciencey space, we're trying to figure out all these things. People are trying to make solutions to these problems that we've created because of the lack of connection with God. And actually, it's keeping you farther away from it. You don't need to take a pharmaceutical medication. You need to find a herb that will solve your problem, because there actually are so many herbs and so many different ways that you can create health within your body through plants, through animals, through nutrition, through the energy that you're putting in your body. Because I want you to think about this. If every living thing has this life force energy in it, if every living thing has this piece of God within it, so that means when we eat things that are alive or once were alive, such as plants and animals and fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds, and what our bodies were designed to eat, we're intaking this life force energy, and it's feeding our chi, it's feeding our energy, it's feeding our aura, it's giving us that glow that I talked about earlier. But when you consume things that were not created by God, that were not grown from the earth, that are dead, that do not have this life force energy, that are made in a lab, that are chemically processed, all these things, that's not God. And that's actually taking some of your life force energy away. It's dulling your aura, it's making you more sick. So, understanding what vitality is, what life force energy is, understanding that there is a part of God within each of us, within every single living thing, it starts to make more sense as to why there would be a herbal remedy, why doing things like going outside and getting sunlight and connecting with the different elements would have such a powerful effect on your healing versus needing to depend on something that was man-made. We try to play God all the time. Man has been trying to play God since the beginning. It's never going to work. And it's actually kind of gotten us into this ginormous mess that we're in right now. And yes, we all have a piece of God within us. Yes, I believe that there are divine ideas planted within each and every one of us. So, the invention of insulin is no coincidence. It's wonderful that we have that for people with diabetes. And I will never, ever say that we should completely stop science, because understanding plants and their properties is also science. Understanding the human body to a cellular level so that we know, hey, you need this mineral. Hey, you're lacking this nutrient. Hey, you're having brain fog because you don't have enough healthy fats in your diet. All these things we know because of science, and that's wonderful. But we're losing the connection to God, where science is going too far away from God, and we need to steer it back into the direction, because science is only going to get you so far, but there will always be that aspect of life. There will always be that part of life, of your energy, of healing that you cannot quite explain with science. And that part is God. And if you don't believe in a God, if you don't have something that you can pray to that's bigger than yourself, that you can express gratitude for, that you can believe in, have faith in, then things like miracles aren't going to happen for you, because you're essentially shutting the door off to them. So, say you were in a situation where you were really sick, something was really wrong, and you needed help. Maybe modern medicine can't cure whatever it is that you're going through. Maybe you haven't found the right answers, but maybe that's because you are only thinking logically, science based, and we've lost that connection to God. We've closed off the door to miracles, okay? Because when we believe in God and when we understand this connection between God and our health, we actually are allowing ourselves for it to be easier, and for these opportunities, these people, these healers, these different modalities of healing that maybe our body needs to come into our energetic field. You meet the right person at the right time, you see an ad on Instagram, you meet somebody that is the exact form of healing that you need. Maybe it's Reiki, maybe it's massage, maybe it's acupuncture, maybe it's a health coach, whatever it is. It's not just, this is a medical doctor, this is, we're taking this prescription, we're following the science. Well, unfortunately, that road has not gotten us to a society in which we have no health issues. We have more health issues than we have ever had. And I also think most people are the most disconnected from God that we've ever been, because we don't grow our own food. We don't do all these things every single day that would keep us in the connection with God, in which we naturally would have if we were living the same way as our ancestors, okay? And there was a really big phase in history where people were falling away from religion in the last 2-3 generations. And now people are finding their way back to God. We're understanding that what God is maybe isn't exactly what was explained to us in the Bible. Maybe it wasn't exactly what was taught to us in different religions throughout time. But we are understanding that it is real. It is not something that you can deny. And even some of the most famous scientists only believed in the science because of God and understood that there was things that maybe we can't have a formula for, maybe we can't measure on a scale, and maybe that is why having this connection with God actually is so important for your health. I read this book called Life Comes from Life, and it is a Hindu monk that is teaching his disciples about what this essentially this life force energy, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name because I would epically fail. But the whole point of this story was that every time science gets to a point, science will always get to a point, and then there's one more thing that they can't explain, and it's that life comes from life. And even if you look at the cycle of life, like how beautiful it is that it's like what we don't use decays and goes back into the earth, which then grows new life, right? Like if you compost, you put all your moldy food, whatever scraps you have, your eggshells, your fruit that went bad, you put it into a compost. And then this compost gets put into your dirt, and then you plant your garden and it regrows your food. And that is the best kind of fertilizer you could possibly have. And I think a big reason why we're having issues with our foods not having as many minerals in them as they used to because of modern agriculture. But we're not composting. We're not using the the gift that the earth has for us for what its purpose is. And our food is losing that life force energy, that it's not as vibrant as it once was, which is why it is important to eat organic when you can, and it is important to eat wild meat when you can, and it is important to not have the chemical and the synthetic as much as you can. Like, I know nobody is perfect, and I don't expect anybody to be perfect. I'm not perfect, and if you think that you're perfect, you're just lying to yourself, because a lot of this is out of our control, and awareness is your best friend, because it's just taking little steps every single day to try to be a little bit better, to know that, hey, this isn't good for me. So maybe next time I go to the grocery store, I'm going to try and buy something better, or I'm going to try and buy from a local farmer, or I'm going to try and grow my own garden this summer. Whatever it is, just trying to be that little bit better when you can, because it's hard. We're not set up for success, and I think a lot of it is because we've been disconnected from this truth. We've been disconnected from this understanding and correlation between God and our health. And another thing that I just want to bring up is prayer and gratitude, because I don't think we give enough credit and understanding to how powerful of a vibration gratitude is. To me, gratitude and prayer are essentially the same thing, because saying thank you for what you have, being grateful for the gifts that God has given you, and sending love and abundance and healing energy and all this stuff to everyone and everything raises the vibration of the planet. And prayer and gratitude are sending your intention to be good, to do something, to have a purpose. So to me, I use these words interchangeably. If I'm saying prayer or gratitude, I'm just talking about when you sit there in the morning or at night or any time of your day and you just take a moment to say, thank you, God. Thank you for this body. Thank you for my health. Thank you for this food. And knowing that that goes a long way. Is it going to change the genetic makeup of your food? No, you can't pray to your McDonald's and eat that every day and think you're going to be healthy. It's not going to happen. But it's still important to do it if you are going to eat McDonald's, which I hope maybe not. If you're going to eat something that you know is maybe not the best for you, say a little prayer. Thank you for nourishing my body with what nourishment you can, with what energy you have. And thank your body for what it does for you, for being able to absorb the nutrients, and just having this mindset, because it's inviting miracles into your life. It's inviting the energy that you want into your energetic field, which is manifestation, which is how miracles show up. And I don't mean that if you have an illness and you say gratitude every day and you do nothing else, you're not necessarily going to wake up magically and it's gone. But there is always going to be some sort of aligned action. But miracles show up every single day. I just sometimes, when you don't believe in magic, when you don't believe in the part of life that is iridescent. I don't know. To me, this just makes sense. I don't know if this makes sense to you, but moments of glimmer, it's just like there is no other explanation than magic. These are the moments that like God is so present and that you're so alive and you're so present in the moment and you're not worrying about yesterday or about tomorrow. And this has such a powerful effect for our well-being. Okay, it can help us break out of mental loops. It can help us process and let go of emotions, understand like letting go and just being in the here and now. Because when we worry about tomorrow or we worry about what we said yesterday and all these things, it pulls us out of the present moment, and it detaches us from God, because God is here now with us. And I really do think that having a connection with God, the deeper that connection is, helps you in every aspect of your life. To be able to see and understand the difference in the quality of food and how that connection to God has an effect on your energy, to understand how like pharmaceutical medicine is maybe a step farther away from God than herbal medicine, and to understand that there's so much ancient wisdom that told us about this energy, that told us about this piece of God that is inside of us, and that honoring and nourishing and making that a priority for yourself is going to give you better overall health. And I just think that's important. We're all just out here trying to be a little bit better than we were yesterday. We are all out here trying to understand and learn and develop and grow, and just know that I think it's a beautiful part of life, the little parts of life, that there is no explanation, that the explanation is God. It is magic. It is that thing that we will never be able to measure with science, because that's what keeps the mystery alive. That's what keeps the sparkle of life happening. There is meant to be things that we don't understand. There is meant to be things that just happen for us. And all we need to do is just say thank you and be grateful and sit in that. We don't need to know why. We don't need to ask a million questions. And science has helped us, yes, 100%, but we can't rely only on science, because humans are not as smart as God. We could think we're God all day long. We can think that we are as smart all day long. We can try and play God and try to come up with all these cures and try to do all these things, but at the end of the day, God is always going to be smarter than us. God is always going to be 3 steps ahead of us. And just being open and connected and having that relationship with God opens up a door to have miracles in your life and have things show up for you that you truly need for your health, for your well-being, for your vitality, for your life force energy, for your aura to glow, all these things that we're trying to do. Okay, so I just want to touch on a couple things that you can do to help improve your relationship with God or help yourself feel closer to God. Prayer and gratitude is always a really good thing that you can do for yourself. And another thing you can do, find like-minded people, find yourself a sense of community in others who share the same values and perspectives of you with you, because that can be really helpful in reminding you that you are not alone in this journey. And using things like tools like oracle cards or tarot cards can be a way to connect to God and your angels. Spending time in nature is probably my favorite way to connect with God. And to me, that is a version of my church, because it is where I see God's beauty, the symmetry, how connected we are to everything around us. Just really always proves to me how true and real God is in my life. And any sort of self development tool can really help pull you towards God, especially when it's things like journaling and meditating and just honestly getting to understand yourself better, I think brings you closer to God because there is that connection of God within you, and realizing that God is a part of who you are and you can never be separate from God, and just developing that connection can really help expand that awareness and that connection, and just trusting in having faith in the unknown, knowing that, God is trying to teach you things in order to get you to where you need to go, that God is always on your side, that God is here to help you and to guide you and to support you, and has the utmost unconditional love for you. And I just think that's important to learn and understand. And I do genuinely think it will help you on your healing journey. So, anyway, I hope that this made sense. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I love you all very, very much, and I'm forever grateful for each and every one of you. I will see you next week. Bye.